Hi, my name's Tomahawk, and I love movies and comics and TV shows and movies that are based off comic books. At least I thought I did, because Kevin, what is all of this? It's not very good, is it? That is the general consensus that audiences have had since Avengers Endgame came out, and there is a major difference between the projects that have come out since Endgame and the projects before. It is a really simple, fundamental thing, and despite what everybody online is saying in the sort of nerd sphere, it's not like nanotech helmets or the universe not feeling cohesive or not having a big bad guy. It's actually something far more fundamental. These movies don't have character arcs anymore. But before we get into the weeds, and if you haven't taken a 10th grade level English class recently, let's talk about what a character arc is. A character arc, simply put, is the change in a character from the beginning of your story to the end of your story. If your character doesn't change, I would argue there isn't really a story. It's just kind of stuff happening. Now, a lot of people probably confuse story, this character arc, the change, with plot. Plot is literally the events as they happen. So an example of like plot with no real story is yesterday I was hungry, so I got in my car, I drove to Arby's, I ordered a beef and cheddar, I ate the beef and cheddar, and I went home. That is the plot of a story. Nothing really engaging in it. It's not very compelling. But if at the start of it I go, I always hated Arby's. Ever since I was a child, the smell of it made me want to vomit. I was starving, and it was the only restaurant around for miles. I had no other options. And when I ordered a beef and cheddar, the same thing that made me vomit as a child, I took a bite of it, and it was the most delicious thing. I've been chasing this high ever since. I came home a changed man, and here I am spreading the gospel to you to go out and try the Arby's beef and cheddar. Not a sponsor. Do you see the difference now, like in the story? So a lot of these Marvel movies are starting to feel like a lot of plot and no story. And it's really bizarre because this franchise was built on the back of very compelling character arcs. The first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie was Iron Man, and I think Iron Man has one of the strongest character arcs, and it's part of what makes him so compelling as a character. So before Tony Stark is Iron Man, at the start of the movie, this is who he is.
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
And what do you say to your other nickname, the Merchant of Death?
That's not bad.
That's who he is at the start, and this is who he becomes by the end of the movie.
There is nothing except this. There's no art opening. There is no benefit. There is nothing to sign. There is the next mission and nothing else. You stood by my side all these years while I reaped the benefits of destruction. And now that I'm trying to protect the people that I put in harm's way, you're gonna walk out.
This is a fundamentally changed man. He's gone through something that has changed him to the core of him as a person. His soul is different. His values in life are different. Now, the plot of the story is how you get that change, because it's not like a switch where it happens instantly. Most good stories have this change happen incrementally over the course of the story. There's conflict, your character wants to try and fight the change. If your character at the start of your story is the same as he is at the end of the story, I think there's something wrong. And a lot of these Marvel movies have been, well, they've been that. And the thing is, Phase 4 actually started out with some pretty good character arcs. WandaVision, I think, is a really solid character arc. Wanda, at the start of this show, is kind of living in denial about the fact that Vision, the man that she loved, has died. And she's created this world for herself where everyone around her can feel her grief, and they're all living in denial with her. The entire series is about grief and accepting grief, and how like grief can be a beautiful thing. And I think that's really interesting and intriguing. That's not to say that WandaVision is perfect. I don't think any of these are like a perfect, 100 out of 100 creative project, but I think there's some really compelling elements in them. Also, there's not many projects that I hate in Marvel. I can, rattle off like a laundry list of things that I think could improve them, but I could still, give them like an 80, which is like a B. But looking at the more recent Marvel projects, like Captain America Brave New World is one of the worst offenders in this category because Sam as a character, he is the exact same character at the beginning of the movie as he is at the end. It really feels like we are just witnessing what's happening in his week as Captain America. It's kind of uninteresting. I think Captain America Brave New World could have been a much more compelling movie if we give him more of an arc. So in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is Sam's story that precedes Captain America Brave New World, at the start of the show, Sam doesn't want to take on the mantle of Captain America. He can't become Captain America as much as he can't become Steve Rogers. He's like, we're gonna put the shield in a museum and honor Steve's legacy. That is kind of the mindset of a lot of people here in the real world. There are a lot of people that are like, no, Steve Rogers is Captain America and all the other ones are just fake Captain Americas. Sam over the course of the series kind of learns that there have been other Captain Americas, Isaiah Bradley, and what it would mean to the public to have a Captain America that looks like Sam. And I think this was a pretty compelling show. Sometimes the plot gets a little lost in the weeds, but it's still good. I really enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier. As far as Brave New World, and leading into that, I think a lot of people thought that Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the series, kind of stole the arc that Brave New World should have had. And I don't think I agree with that. I see what the arc should have been in Brave New World, and these are the fairly simple choices, I think, that would make it a more compelling story. I think this should be a story about Sam learning how to be Captain America, not literally like in the physical sort of like training with the shield, but how he becomes Captain America in the mind of the public. So in the real version of the movie, it opens up with Sam like at a bar and the bartender gives him a drink and says, here you go, Cap. So the public has already kind of accepted that Sam is Captain America. And I think it would be more interesting if the public doesn't accept Sam as Captain America and that's part of like his arc. I feel like it should be that Sam is at this bar and the bartender goes, this drink's on the house, Falcon. And Sam is like, it's Captain America now, actually. Thanks. And the bartender's like, fine, whatever, I don't care. I think that Sam's solution to this problem is going to be to try and act more like Steve Rogers. And I think that this should sort of exemplify itself as him kind of trying to do like a Steve Rogers impression. Early in the movie, like he goes on like a mission with some like other like military guys. I think he should probably try and do like a Steve Rogers-esque sort of like rousing speech, and it just falls flat completely. The soldiers aren't really buying it. It doesn't feel authentic to himself. And he can talk with Joaquin Torres, the new Falcon. I'm still trying to get that speech thing kind of together, like Steve always did that. And throughout the course of the movie, he's constantly comparing himself to Steve. In the scenes that already exist, you can have Joaquin be like, you're doing it again. You're not being yourself. What is this character that you're doing? And Sam's like, I'm being Captain America. It feels weird, man. Sam's like, yeah, the plot can more or less play out the same. I don't think the plot is that bad. I don't think it's wonderful, but you know, it's fine. And at one point in the movie, as it actually is, this scene is in there after Joaquin Torres has been sort of taken out of the fight. He's sitting in a hospital bed and he tells Sam he always wanted to be Falcon. He was the Avenger that he related the most to. This should be like the sort of clarifying moment for Sam of, I was always trying to be Steve Rogers. This guy's always been trying to be me. I think I just need to be myself. Now, if I had my druthers and I could like rework the whole thing from the ground up, like including Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I would have it that at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he gets a Captain America suit, but it doesn't have the wings on it. In this final fight, he puts the Falcon wings on with the Captain America suit, and this is sort of him embracing him being Captain America in his own way. And then in the sort of final fight with the Red Hulk, like I thought the movie was about to do this. Everything leading up to this moment is already kind of built up, and then they just don't really pay it off. All the elements are there for this to happen, and I wonder if it was something that was changed in a rewrite. So President Ross is talking to the press, there's a lot of cameras, and that's when he gets turned into the Red Hulk. And Sam has to like fight the Red Hulk. So in my version, this would be the first time that you see Captain America with the wings fighting Red Hulk. And it'd be like two cool new things for you to look at. Okay, so in the actual movie that was released, Red Hulk knocks the shield out of Sam's hand. He rips one of the wings off of his suit. And then Sam, I think, stabs him with the other wing. Now, I think this is really close to being something that could be impactful to Sam's arc that I'm inserting in here. I think Hulk should knock out the shield, take off one wing, take off the other wing, and now Sam is just left in his Captain America suit. He's out of tricks. He's out of like the superhero stuff. Sam isn't super powered. He's not a super soldier. And in the same way that Steve Rogers like walks towards Thanos' army like, well, this is how I go out. This is how I go out. I think Sam should do the same thing and just walk straight ahead at the Red Hulk like he's about to fight him. And since the reporters have been like, recording this, they have a live feed on the event. People around the world can kind of look in and see Sam is the type of person who is willing to fight no matter what. He doesn't need all the accoutrement of the superhero stuff. He doesn't need the wings. It's not the shield that makes Captain America. It is to be the person who just goes forward and fights for what is right, no matter what. I think that is the thing that makes Captain America himself. And I think this would be a great time to cut back to that bartender from earlier in the movie who gave Sam his drink. And like, there's some guy in the bar that's just like, who does he think he is? And the bartender goes, that's Captain America. And like, this is kind of the indicator that now in the mind of the public, Sam has become Captain America. Like, he has now been sort of like accepted, and you can more or less do the same thing where he can like talk the Red Hulk down, have the rest of the movie happen as it is, except get rid of that post-credit scene that's nothing, where you have Dr. Big Brain come in and just be like, I'm smart and I think we're heading to a multiverse movie. And Sam's just like, oh, that's nothing. Now look, I'm biased because I wrote this, but I personally think that is a more compelling version of what would essentially be the same movie. Because again, I'm not changing the plot. I am just adding in a character arc. I think this is an indicative problem of a lot of the projects that have come out. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, adding a character arc is going to fix every movie in this. I just think it's going to make it more compelling. And that's not to say that all of them have this problem. I think a lot of them are compelling. I think there's been a lot of good stuff since Endgame. Well, not a lot. There's been some good stuff since Endgame. And I think there's also been some not good stuff since Endgame. Even some of the stuff that has scored sort of like pretty good, I think is kind of underwhelming. I think Fantastic Four would have been better if there was a character arc in there, because none of the characters change over the course of the movie. And it seems like, again, their arcs are mostly apparent as to what they should be, and then they've been removed. I don't know what it is. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that like I'm a better writer than people in Hollywood. I'm not. I would like to be. Make me a writer in Hollywood. I'll write a screenplay that you can butcher and then, make into like a lackluster movie. I'm willing to do that. I'll even write lackluster stuff to start with. A lot of times it feels like I'm complaining a lot about Marvel, but the thing is like, I love it. I love Marvel. I love the Marvel movies. I like the Marvel TV shows. I'm one of those guys that has seen like all of it. All the stuff that's behind me right now, that's just that side of the room. There's more over here. I have Spider-Man bed sheets right now. But I have been trying to analyze the character arcs and the major character changes and all of the Marvel movies for a while now. And this is the first video that I'm making. The sort of debut video of what I want to be a series where we can sort of analyze the arc of each movie. Does that sound like something that would be interesting to you? Please let me know in the comments. Tell me which movie you would like for me to tackle next. I think Ant-Man Quantumania, that needs a character arc bad. And I see what it is. It would probably require more work than some of these other ones where you can keep the plot more or less the same, but I see what the arc should be, and I would love to do a video about that. But yeah, let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. I love you. Mwah, mwah. Subscribe. We also do a full-length show here called Hero Huddle. It's the, namesake of the channel, and we break down the sort of pop culture nerd news of the week, and we do silly little goofs and bits along the way. But yeah, let me know what you would like to see going forward. Bye.